This is, look, Donald Trump cannot do this under any legal mechanism that we have today. Now, obviously, the courts have been totally compromised, and the courts are another area where you're going to need some serious strategy planning on. But this is both. You cannot de-emphasize how important this is in and of itself, because who knows where we'll be if, God forbid, Donald Trump is reelected. And also because this is the same administration that is killing children through kidnapping and neglecting them, and now wants to hold them indefinitely. Here he is talking about birthright citizenship. This is the re-election. This is the re-election. It's racism, xenophobia, and conspiracy theories. There's very little room left for fake economic populism. That was a major part of the equation in 2016, which I hope liberals can understand. But I hope lefties can understand that in 2020, that's not going to be really on the list here. This is what he's got left.
Say it. We're looking at that very seriously. Birthright citizenship, where you have a baby in our land, you walk over the border, have a baby. Congratulations, the baby is now a U.S. citizen. We're looking at it very, very seriously. I don't know how you found that out, but that's very good. We are looking at birthright citizenship very seriously. It's frankly ridiculous.
There it is. I mean, again, look, just be clear what Donald Trump and what the Republican Party need to do. And also be really clear. This is another reason I always keep saying, accepting the science of climate change does not matter that much as a political analysis as to why it is occurring and how to actually address it. Because when the right starts accepting the reality of global climate refugees and changes in atmosphere and weather, they're going to come up with enhanced apartheid systems to deal with that. If you read Achille Mbembe, who wrote a depressing and brilliant piece in 2016, before Trump was elected, it was called The Age of Humanism Was Ending. He looked at Gaza as a prototype for North and South, rich and poor. Watch Children of Men. I mean, Children of Men does hold up as the most brilliant dystopia movie, I think, certainly of this century so far. That's what's going to be put on the table. And that's why you need a truly radical response.
Yep. That's why something like, whether you call it open borders or the free movement of people, is going to be so important going forward as a way to counter this rising tide of right-wing eco-fascism, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Well, I just want to add to that, which is that you need to center it, in my view, as a fight against colonialism and against the reasons that are rooted in these horrific maldistribution of resources and abuses, which is what we don't want climate refugees.
Right.
So when we have, nobody wants that, period. When you have refugees, when you have a crisis, you respect. And what's interesting to me is things like protocols on refugees that are already in the books are actually pretty good, are actually pretty humane. And so you need to synchronize following those international obligations, but actually also seriously dealing with the fundamental drivers of the crisis as well.
Oh, yeah. It makes no sense to do it in a vacuum, right? Because climate change, imperialism, and capital itself is still going to be moving people around. And that's not truly free movement if that's what's moving them. It needs to be paired with a ramping down of imperialism, a ramping down of colonial violence, and a closing of borders and a placing of restrictions on capital, which also means international labor regulations.
And absolutely. And it's compelled movement. It's not free movement. So you have these situations where you have absorption of massive population changes that are generated by our foreign policy, our abuse, global inequities. And then when they do arrive in different environments and different contexts, it's political moneymaker for the demagogues and the bigots. And also, again, it's like the classic model too of the elites or the capital class does not deal with and interface with the changes that actually occur when cities and towns transform themselves. So you need to have a clear moral argument against racism, xenophobia, and that's why you need to destroy ICE, and you need to bring in, like, even frankly Warren's proposal. I mean, 10 times as many refugees is not that many. I think we were down to only like we're well below a million, 500,000. I think we're even down to 30,000 in 2019, which is abominable, atrocious. And then, of course, there's the whole other element that needs to be disaggregated, which is that there's like 15, 20 million people who live here today who just need to be immediately granted citizenship. I won't even say amnesty, because that implies some like great wrongdoing. But we need to disaggregate those things, and we need to make the core of it on the climate, military, and trade policies that lead to these patterns, in my view. And that's another reason too. I'll say I think his proposals domestically are cool, but Julian Castro, with his record and his politics, talking about a Marshall Plan for Central America is horrifying to me. It sounds to me like ensuring that the Honduran military base that we have there is well lubricated and there's more sweatshops, at least as I see it. You're calling from